Well, welcome along. Thanks a lot for taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride wherever you're going, whatever you may be going. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat with you. Jim Coyle sitting in, as always. Got Jake at the wheel. Hope your day's off to a good start. If not, we can get it headed in that right direction. Another great show on tap today. Special guest Jordan Hall's joining us, fresh off of his MVP nod from Europe. We'll also be joined by Mike Schumann, of course, in the Daily Hoosier. Lots to talk about, plenty to get to. Nothing bigger than the story of the day. Man, I still can't believe it. John Beilein leaves Michigan, and he is now the head coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Unbelievable. Can't believe that. Most people, everybody that I've talked to and read about has just been shocked about this. What a surprise. But also turns kind of the Big Ten Conference on its ear a little bit for a couple of reasons. Number one, you're losing one of the two tenured and best head coaches in the league. John Beilein, of course, had been at Michigan for 12 years, had done so much there, recently off of a Final Four appearance, but had them year in, year out just playing high-level basketball. Then now there's a couple of guys on that team that everybody is probably already coveting. We'll talk about that with Mike Schumann, but unbelievable that John Beilein, one of the most successful coaches in college basketball, and especially in the Big Ten, leaving to become head coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers. A lot of people are, as always, are shocked, or I mean, we're all surprised, but I saw a lot of comments that what a mistake this is and that, and I'm like, why? Why is it a mistake? It doesn't matter. He's probably going to make $30 million over the next 5 years, so hardly call that a mistake. But he's apparently just wanted a different challenge. And there's no problems at Michigan. It's just so unusual because there's no problems. He was having no problems, no hint of a scandal, not open, no profit. Recruiting, he had a good recruiting class coming in. So it's just you talk about a man with onions. There you go, John Beilein. He's what, 66 years old, and the easiest thing for him to have done would have been to just ride off into the sunset over the next 5 years or whatever, 6 years. And he could have done that. He could have set his own rules and done whatever he wanted to. But, man, he chose a different path. And you got to take your hat off to him, man. It's just kind of surprising in a word, but hit us up on the text line if you like, 812-269-6367. Tim's done that. He said, so with Beilein leaving, their 5 schools could benefit, including Duke, Indiana. A few are looking at Michigan's 2 2019 signees. He almost left last year for Detroit. Yeah, he did. Yeah, those there are those 2 guys he's got, man. They're both some shooters. I saw Mike Schumann mention this yesterday. So, you know anybody that could use that? Yeah, we certainly do. But they're going to end up somewhere. So to be curious if they stay within the conference, first of all, and I'm pretty sure now with the coach leaving, I can't remember if that rule is in place, but I think that they can be released and won't have to sit out a year. Is that right, Jake?
Yeah, that's correct. They would be eligible immediately.
So that would certainly alleviate Indiana's serious recruiting woes that they have right now. We talked about that, or I talked about that at length yesterday. They've got 2 open scholarships. And the funny thing is now, does that make Indiana a likely landing spot? Because Indiana has 2 scholarships open. Do these guys want to go to the same place? They want to play together. It'd be interesting to see how, if they're close friends, if they've developed a bond as Michigan recruits, and if they would like to play together. There you go. A school that has an opening with for both of them would be open arms. And Archie Miller's got his arms extended right now, widely. He's linking hands with Bruiser Flint and Ed Schilling and Tom Ostrom, making those arms even more open, welcoming in. But man, you talk about going from the outhouse to the penthouse. If they could land that would just be a stroke of luck. And it looks like the only thing that's going to help alleviate Indiana's recruiting problems. That's an issue that we'll talk about another time, but manna from heaven may have potentially fallen into Indiana's lap. We'll certainly have to find out, but they are. Tim also said they are already calling for Brad Stevens, may want to come back to college. Players may stay if that happens. Oh, you mean Michigan's calling for that? Yeah, but I don't know that if he wants to come back to college, he might wait for the Indiana job. He's from Zionsville, but who knows? I mean, again, we talked about the reason that John Beilein left was a challenge. Same reason that Brad Stevens left and went to Butler, the challenge. He could have written his own ticket anywhere after taking Butler to back-to-back Final Four championship game appearances. So he knows a thing or two about that. It's certainly going to be interesting to see how it turns out, man. But, boy, you talk about surprising. And that would also alleviate, or would that? Now we're getting tricky because today is May 14th. Very special day for me personally. It's my daughter Kylie's birthday, and today is her 16th birthday of all birthdays. So happy sweet 16, the sweetest girl in the world. But we're a day away from the May 15th deadline. Does that still affect those guys are freshmen? Is there a loophole for them? Do they get to escape that since they've already signed with a school, or they a transfer? I mean, how would this they're not really transferring because they haven't started school yet. So that's have someone need someone with a higher pay grade in mind right now to figure that out real quick. But that's just a thought there as well. Does the May 15th deadline, does that have any effect on this? We'll get Mike Schumann on today and ask him that. But there's all kinds of questions and all kinds of options. A lot of things up in the air right now. Hope your day's off to a good start. The Orange Bowl will be played on Monday, December 30th at 8 o'clock in an exclusive window. It had been scheduled to be played on, I think, New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, but in the middle of the afternoon. They prided themselves that since 1965, they've either started or ended it at nighttime, and they wanted to continue that. And they will be able to do that now by moving that game. A game that features an ACC opponent versus either a Big Ten or an SEC or Notre Dame. So a very interesting move there. We got other things to talk about as well today. Maximum Security's jockey from the Derby was suspended. I noticed that yesterday. And I just think that doesn't have anything to do with the IU, but of course it's a big news event. What a crap. I mean, to me, they're just covering their butt and suspending him by following through with that. But if it was such an easy call, why did it take them nearly 25 minutes to do this? And why did they not file their own inquiry? They had to wait for someone else to file that if it was such an obvious thing. What a joke that was. Tiger Woods is in a lawsuit. And Iowa, the latest state to allow sports gambling. Plenty to talk about. We'll talk about all that and more. But coming up when we come back, here a reboot of Armaan Franklin, if you missed that. Armaan Franklin, the 2019 signee, heading to Indiana next year to play basketball, was on the program with us, and we'll hear from him. Keep the text coming. Tim's got another in. We'll talk about that in the next segment, so stay tuned. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
The 22 years Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hi, this is AJ Moye, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
This is Blues Power.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Jim Coyle with you as always, coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. And now very, very special guest. Very grateful to have Armaan Franklin, one of Indiana's signees coming in for next year. Armaan, thank you very much for joining us today, man.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Thank you for having me.
A big weekend up in your part of the country, Indianapolis there. The EYBL was in town. Did you get a chance to go out and catch some basketball this weekend?
Yeah, I watched a lot of games. I watched the 2020 Indy Heat team play, and then I got a chance to watch LeBron's son and Imani Bates play against each other, so it was a good weekend for basketball here.
Is he anybody that you like to help recruit to Indiana to be a teammate?
It was a lot of kids that I like to be able to get to recruit and see play for Indiana there. So,
Speaking of recruiting,
that we'll recruit them already.
Speaking of the recruiting, when you go back and think about it, every kid probably loves to be in that position, but it's a lot harder than people think to deal with the overall recruiting process. There's probably some strenuous times where it gets you a little tiresome, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, you're taking recruiting trips, and then coaches calling your phone all day and texting you all day, just checking up, trying to build relationships. It can get stressful sometimes, but you just gotta know what you want in the school and not let it stress you out.
And talking about those relationships, that's got to be one of the toughest parts is when you're coming down to make that decision, and you do that. There's probably guys or coaching staffs that you probably built a pretty good relationship with, but you're going to have to tell them no. How hard is that on you?
That was probably one of the hardest parts of me committing, was telling other coaches no, because I've been building relationships for about a year, and just tell them no. It just kind of hurts your feelings, but you know that it's all gonna be all right because they've been told no before.
Of course, but then when you're actually forced to do that, of course, it puts a little stress on you. But then when you actually get to tell the coach where you're going, of course, Archie Miller in Indiana, how exciting is that to be able to do that?
It was really fun. It was like a weight lifted off your back. Like, you're done with the whole recruiting process, and you can finally, be at peace with your decision and just be comfortable with your decision. So it just takes like a weight off your back.
And being one of the prominent players in Indiana high school basketball last year and making that decision to go to Indiana, what was it that led you to pick Archie Miller and the Indiana program?
It was a lot that went to it. I had like a list of things that I looked for in the school, so there had to be a lot of academic things as well. But main thing for basketball was just having a good relationship with the coaches, and then not only the coaches but the players that are already there. I had a great relationship with some of them, and then the big thing for me was just being comfortable where I was. I felt most comfortable at IU just because I knew it was not too far from home, and then I could go home whenever I want. But that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going home whenever. So that was a big thing too for me, and to be able to see me play and just be able to be comfortable where I am. That was a huge thing.
And you're talking about that, you're coming into the program with a couple other Indiana guys, one of which is a grad transfer, Joey Brunk, but also Trace Jackson, who someone you ran into on the court quite often. You guys are going to be teammates, both Indiana guys. That's got to be a lot of fun to look forward to.
It is. I've known me and Trace used to play together in 7th grade, so we know each other pretty well. We've known each other for a long time. It's just exciting to finally play with them again.
What's it like playing with someone like that, and how much more comfortable does it make you coming into a program when you're coming in with someone like Trace, who you have been friends with and played with so much growing up?
It's a real good feeling knowing that you still have chemistry with somebody you used to play with. So I think it just makes it easier for us to gel on the court.
And then coming into Indiana, what are you looking to bring as far as your talents and what you can do for that program and that team? What do you think that you're going to be able to do for them?
Hopefully, I will make a big impact with the shooting because I know we struggled a little bit in that aspect last year. And then another thing, I just want to be able to be another lockdown defender. I take pride in defense, so I'm hoping I bring that to the table. And then just being a great teammate, no matter what's going on.
And again, we talked about you being one of the prominent players in Indiana high school basketball the last several seasons. How important is it to you to be a part of a program like Indiana, who's got a storied past, the flagship university of the state of Indiana, which is the premier state, basically in the United States for basketball. And now you get to be a part of a long and rich history of guys that are from Indiana playing for that program and the program itself.
Yeah, that was another big thing for me, just being part of such a storied program and program history and just the fans and all that. Like, no matter what your record is, there's still fans every day, every game. So that was a big thing too. And then just being able to help be part of bringing IU back to what they used to be. That was another thing for me, just getting them back to the prominent level they were at.
And you've obviously played a lot of big games in high school, big-time opponents and things like that. But now you get to move up to the college level, play in the Big Ten, one of the premier leagues in the country, and you're going to get to be playing against the Michigans and Ohio States and Michigan States, Tom Izzo, people like that, as well as outside of the conference, whether it's a Duke or a North Carolina or big-time teams like that. That's got to be a very exciting thing to be looking forward to as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I love competition. I love going against the best and proving myself to other people that I can play with anybody. So that's just another thing I'm looking forward to and I'm excited about.
What's something that people don't know about Armaan Franklin off the basketball court? Maybe whether it's an interest or just a funny story about Armaan.
I'm a pretty laid-back, chill guy. I don't do too much. I don't know. I like being at home. I like spending a lot of time with family. But I'm still like a normal teenager, so I like to go out and have fun with friends sometimes. And so I'm just basically like a normal kid, basically.
And speaking of family, we greatly appreciate your wonderful mother, India, who helped us get this set up. But yesterday was Mother's Day, so that had to be a special day. I think you were out there at the EYBL with your mom, right?
Yeah, we went to the EYBL games and then came home and I had her whole Mother's Day presents laid out on the table when she walked in. So
that's pretty cool. And you can tell she's been the IU fan base has really taken to her. She's taken on a life of her own almost.
Yeah. She's a celebrity out there.
Does that actually take some pressure off of you in some way?
It does. Just knowing that my mom is getting a lot of attention too. It takes some pressure off me because people would actually just bring my mom up there in the middle of the conversation, like, your mom's so funny, all that and all that. And like, I don't know. It's just a good feeling to know my mom is accepted by the IU family and community.
Definitely has been, and you can tell, and that's great to look forward to. What are the things you're looking forward to most once you get to Indiana, just coming to school?
Just coming to school, just meeting new people, making new relationships and friendships, and that's just what I'm used to, just meeting new people, making new friends, and then you never know. It's just a lifetime partnership.
And I know that Trace Jackson and Joey Brunk have been working out a lot. Have you got to work out with them much at all, or any this before you come to IU?
I haven't worked out with them yet, just because they live so far from me. So, yeah, I haven't got the chance to work out with them yet.
And what do you do to prepare yourself, obviously besides what you've done in high school, but in between then and now, before you get to Indiana, what all are you doing to prepare yourself for that? Because there's more to it than just basketball in school. Now you're going to be kind of on your own for the first time as a freshman in college. It's going to be a big change.
Yeah, it's going to be a big change, but I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty self-sufficient, so I think the transition won't be as bad for me, just knowing that I can take care of myself, I can cook for myself, all that. So I think my mom's prepared me well enough for this.
Awesome. And then there's a lot of other aspects to the game off the court, whether it's working out with Cliff Marshall, who we always see them on social media. Man, they do a lot of stuff in getting their bodies and the physical shape and to another level.
Yeah, I'm really big fan of Coach Cliff and what he does, and I just can't wait to finally get down there and work with him and then see my body really transform to the next level type body and just get more physical and all that. So I'm really excited about that.
And then having watched Indiana play, who are you excited to be able to play with some of the guys that are already on the team?
Oh, I'm excited to play with all of them. I watched a lot of games, and I kind of got to see where people like to get their spots, and I don't know, it's kind of basically figure out what they like to do before I get there. And I think that gives me an advantage to what I can bring next year, just a chemistry standpoint.
And then, of course, this summer you still have some things to wrap up before your high school career is completely over. The Kentucky-Indiana All-Star Series comes up. How much pride do you guys take in that and representing the state as the elite of the elite in Indiana?
Oh, it's a big thing. We don't like losing to Kentucky, so last year, and the juniors we lost, so I think we got to make up for it this year. It's a big deal for us.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I think that was the first time they had lost a game. The seniors lost a game in almost a decade. So Indiana has really dominated that series. And I don't people. Indiana's known as the basketball state. Of course, we all know that. But I don't know that people realize outside of here how serious that it really is. And Indiana leads that series like 3-1. Games-wise, but it is the amount of talent that is on those all-star teams is always staggering. That's got to be a fun thing to be able to play with that level of talent as well.
Yeah, it's fun. You play against these guys in high school, in the high school games, and now you finally get the team like top best talent in the state teaming up with one team is pretty dangerous. So, yeah, it's just good to play with those guys one last time before we go our separate ways.
And, of course, next year we talked about when you come to Indiana, getting to play in a place like Assembly Hall, which not only is Indiana one of the most premier and well-known programs in the country, Assembly Hall is possibly the most iconic venue in all of college basketball. Very, very special place to play in.
Yeah, it is. I came to a lot of games last year, and then just seeing the crowd there and the atmosphere there is like people love it there. So it was just a great feeling being there, and I can't wait to play in it.
What's it like playing? Where do you think it's going to be like playing in a place that can get as loud as? Because there's about not many places that can get as loud as Assembly Hall can get.
Yeah, it'll be crazy. Like when we start going on runs and build up big leads and just hearing the crowd getting hyped up for us. It's just going to be a crazy feeling. I can't imagine it until I'm on the court yet.
And have you thought about, I'm sure a lot of kids, and you get older and you don't want to act like you did it, but we all did the 3-2-1 thing in the driveway and whatnot. But have you really thought about what it's going to be like to pull that Indiana jersey on for real and walk out onto that Assembly Hall floor?
I thought about it a little bit, but I don't think it'll reach like the real thing until I actually do it. So, like I said, I'm just excited for it. I can't wait for it.
Well, Armand, I cannot thank you enough for joining us today. We really appreciate it. I hope you had a great Mother's Day yesterday with your mom, India, and we appreciate all of you guys and look forward to seeing you on the court at Assembly Hall.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Armand Franklin's joining us. We were grateful to have him and thankful again to his mom, India, for help making that happen. But, yeah, we're sitting here talking about the Michigan situation, and I'm a little confused, to be honest with you, about the May 15th deadline. So we're going to get that figured out. But because Trendon Watford has yet to sign, and I don't think his signing is imminent within the next 24 hours with anybody. I'm not sure he knows where he's going yet, to be honest with you. I know that there's been a lot said that he's potentially leaning towards LSU, but I got to be honest with you. I will still be shocked if that's the case, because there's no way that a NCAA investigation is not imminent. At the very least, an investigation into LSU, and after he made his quote-unquote strong-ass offer to land a recruit, or recruits for that matter, that has already happened at Arizona, with, of course, accusations that Sean Miller was paying DeAndre Ayton $10,000 a month. Wish I could have been his agent. A little $1,000 a month on the side wouldn't have been bad, huh, Jake?
I'd take it.
Yeah, you and me both, brother. You and me both.
I'm on the talking about the National Letter of Intent and the deadline. I'm on the website reading some of the frequently asked questions, and one is, am I required to sign a National Letter of Intent? The answer is no. You're not required to sign an NLI, but many prospective student athletes sign because they want to create a certainty in the recruiting process. Specifically, by signing an NLI, you agree to attend the institution for 1 year in exchange for the institution's promise in writing to provide you athletics financial aid for the entire academic year.
Yeah, so this deadline may mean nothing.
I'm thinking that it does.
So that's out the window. So we can forget about that. Now we can just go back to talking about, something I brought up earlier. There are two signees at Michigan that are both big-time scorers, both filling would fill a need at Indiana, and they could fill it together. And I guarantee you, Archie Miller would take them both with open arms. Do they want to play together? Is that an option? Is that something that makes it more enticing for them, is to be able to have a landing spot where both of them could go together? If that is something that's on their mind, maybe Indiana's attracted to them for that reason. And it would certainly help Indiana, without a question, because they don't have, that's exactly what they need. It would sure turn things around for Indiana recruiting. It would turn that program around. Well, not turn it around, but certainly give it a jump start after back-to-back seasons of barely being over 500. Largely in part to not having a shooter, someone that can relieve pressure for the middle. And the middle will be pretty formidable next season with incoming 5-star Trace Jackson Davis, the addition of Joey Brunk, a veteran now of 2 seasons of playing, but he's got 2 seasons under his belt. You've got a veteran that's going to be down there. Then you've got Deron Davis, who's a veteran in his own right. And if he's healthy, he's pretty damn good. I mean, that would change the game for Indiana. And something about Deron Davis is he did a heck of a job last year at finding other guys. There were many games where he had a pretty good number of assists. Deron's a smart player. He's a solid player. He doesn't panic. Dude's been there, man. I'll tell you, the thing that stood out to me about Deron Davis, his freshman season, I said it last year, was his free throw shooting. He was ice cold. Now, his sophomore year, things went awry for whatever reason. He couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. But during his freshman season, dude was standing up, knocking them down big-time free throws under pressure situations. I remember that specifically about him, and I thought, man, this dude, he's got ice water in his veins. And he does. I mean, that's just something that stands out to me about Deron, and adding some scores to the team that's already around him could certainly give Indiana a chance at being a very good ball club. But, all that's just talk right now that I'm throwing out there. We'll see how it ends up. Got a text from the text line. I heard Watford will sign papers May 20th to play. Yeah, that's what got us talking about this supposed May 15th deadline. I don't know who put that in my head. Another 3-name player highly interested in IU. He wants to visit. He is a 2020 6'10" Elijah Hutchins Everett. Now, that's a name I have not seen. I'll have to bring that up to Mike Schumann. Man, these names are coming out of nowhere. Also, DJ Stewart wants to visit IU. Yeah, that we talked about that yesterday. A lot of dude had a breakout weekend at the EYBL in Indianapolis. He scored like 29, 38, and 46 points in consecutive games. Big time. That's a lot of scoring right there. Hey, we got plenty more coming up. We got to take a quick break. Coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Speed. We got a lot more coming up on the show today. Jordan Hall's newly minted MVP from Europe. Mike Schumann will join us as well. Stay tuned. We're back with more here on Indiana Sports Speed right after this.
Everybody understands the blues. Are you listening?
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. It's Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Greg Green. Keep up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you, of course, from the golf club at Eagle Point Studios. Hope your day's off to a great start. May 14th. That's one of the best days of my life, personally. His birthday, so I'm celebrating that today. She turned 16. Happy birthday, Kylie. She's still sleeping. Hope your day's off to a great start. Plenty to talk about. Again, nothing bigger than the story out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. You know, we've been talking about that a lot lately. Baseball team won a baseball series over the weekend there, and now John Beilein just shocks the college world. Both, not just the college, not just the Big Ten, but the college basketball as a whole.
And, of course, in the NBA, even I saw a tweet from Dickie V yesterday that our good buddy Kevin Brockway retweeted that he was shocked. Capitalized shocked was in capitalized letters. So if you shock Dickie V, baby, you've shocked the world. And John Beilein certainly did that. But the bigger point that we're talking about right now is those two fine scores that Michigan has that will probably be looking to move unless Michigan were to move quickly and secure a coach. And that's another thing. Who's going to be the replacement at Michigan? One of the first names that popped up on a lot of people's minds, Dane Fife, the former Hoosier, current Michigan State assistant. He's been there for 8 years under Tom Izzo. That's like getting a doctorate degree. A lot of fans responded on social media yesterday that they don't think he's got the experience for the Michigan job. Yeah, well, we'll see about that. And then the funny thing is you start seeing Brad Stevens' name pop up. I'm like, dude, why every time a job opens up, everybody thinks Brad Stevens is going to leave the Boston Celtics and come there. Whether it's Indiana or Michigan, it doesn't matter. But sometimes that happens, but I'm just not – I don't see Brad Stevens bolting right now. You were going to say something, Jake?
I was going to say Dane Fife also has head coaching experience. So, I mean, it's not like he's going into this completely
right
a rookie or anything. So,
former head coach at Fort Wayne, the Mastodons. But he's been at Michigan State for quite some time. He's a Michigan native, I think, from Clarkston, Michigan. His older brother, was a captain on a Michigan basketball team. So it'll be interesting to see. I know, like most programs, a lot of Michigan fans, they want to see them make a splash, big hire, big name. It'll be interesting to see who that replacement is. You can certainly guarantee that Dane will be getting an interview for that job at the very least. Hey, Jordan Hulls is on the program today. Looking forward to talking to him again. He's been on with us before. Good friend of the show. We'll talk about this later, but he's got his 6th annual Skills Academy camp coming up as well. That's June 19th through 21st at Bloomington South High School, of course, where he went. For grades 2 through 5, it's $100 each. Grades 6 through 11, it's $1.25. We'll talk about that with Jordan when he comes on, but something for the kiddos to think about. Big series this weekend for Indiana as they take on Rutgers in baseball. Michigan will travel to Nebraska. Nebraska had lost, 3 straight Big Ten series, but they just, this past weekend, they had an out-of-conference series with Arizona State, who ironically is coached by Tracy Smith, Indiana's former coach, in which they won that series. Now, if Indiana can get the Cornhuskers to pick up a couple of wins against Michigan and Indiana can take care of business, they still got a shot at the Big Ten championship. But before that, big game tonight at the Bart. The Louisville Cardinals pay a visit. That ought to be some ball game, folks. I am looking forward to seeing that. Man, that's going to be an electric atmosphere. The weather is finally decent, is going to be decent. It ought to be a huge night at the ballpark. I say it's going to be a big time night. It's a red out for Indiana, I noticed. So if you are planning on attending, red it on out. Some mixture because the Cardinals, of course, their colors are red as well. So whatever few fans that they'll have there, they'll probably fit right in with the red. But I expect a capacity crowd on hand with the weather going to be nice. This is a top 5 Louisville team. It's a top 25 matchup. And Indiana feeling pretty good after the weekend series win over Michigan. And they daggone nearly swept Michigan. Gee whiz. They lost the finale in 11 innings. Tight game. It could have gone either way, obviously. Now that would have made all the difference in the world. That would have put Indiana in the driver's seat for the Big Ten championship. A half game ahead of Michigan. Unfortunately, they currently sit a game and a half back, so they've got to pick up 2 games. That means they have to win the series, and they need Michigan to lose the series this weekend. Very possible. Michigan's destiny is in their own hands as far as winning that Big Ten championship. Indiana can only do what it can do and rely on help from outside. But the NCAA tournament is a no-doubter for both of those squads. Tonight's game against Louisville will be another little addition to their RPI. But, I don't know that it's going to really change much. I don't see them hosting unless something crazy happened. Maybe they win the Big Ten, they win out. But right now, they're probably more than likely will be playing in Louisville and probably meet the Cardinals again in the NCAA action. Unfortunately, that will be at Louisville more than likely. So I'm not sure that the RPI boost will make a huge difference right now. But if nothing else, it will certainly be for confidence. Not that they're lacking that at all, nor should they be. But, man, it ought to be a great time. So if you're around the Bloomington area tonight, head out to the BART. Big-time game on tap. I mentioned earlier that Tiger Woods was in a lawsuit. A bar, a restaurant, and someone that worked there stayed after, drank too much in the middle of the afternoon, no less, and then later died in an accident of drunk driving. And they're being sued, but seems like a stretch. Also mentioned Iowa. 2 of the most unlikely states have approved gambling, sports gambling, Iowa and in Indiana. You think of those 2 places, especially Indiana, you think of conservative city, man. But Iowa's governor signed into law their sports gambling law, which will take effect soon. So now you've got 2 Midwestern states, 2 Big Ten states that will have gambling. How is that going to affect college athletics? I mean, there's always that fear. Kevin Brockway, our good friend of the show from CNHI Papers, has a really good piece out right now. We'll talk to him about that on Thursday. But check that out if you haven't seen it. You can find him on Twitter. Or if he's into your papers, maybe Anderson, New Albany, Jeffersonville area. They're all around several cities around the state of Indiana. But a really good piece on gambling where he speaks to the athletics directors from Indiana, from Purdue, I think maybe Butler, about that. There's always that fear, man, that infiltrates. There hasn't been anything in a decade, but the biggest fear is the prop betting. It's just a constant betting. So those are the things I think they fear most. That's what Fred Glass said. We'll see if we can get Fred Glass on the show and talk to him a little bit about it. Wouldn't mind talking about that and beer sales and some other things. But there is a lot of change going on, man. Think about that. One of the most conservative states in the country, Indiana, is now going to have beer sales at Memorial Stadium next year and sports gambling. So get this. Next season, you can sit in the stands at Memorial Stadium sipping on your ice-cold beverage and place bets during the game on your phone. How nuts is that? Crazy. We'll talk about that a lot more in the next hour. We'll also talk to Jordan Hulls, former Hoosier baller. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier is going to join us too. Stay tuned. We got a lot more coming back here from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat back with more right after this.
Telling who that it's naming was the loser, now will be later to win, for the times they are a-changing.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. It's Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hey sports fans, this is Lily King. Make sure you tune in to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, welcome along, and thanks a lot for taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride, wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along the way. Jim Coyle with you as always. Jake's at the wheel, keeping things on the track. Hope your day's off to a good start. If not, we can get it headed in that direction. We've got another great show on tap, as we have just been killing it here. Jordan Hulls will join us today. Recently named MVP over in Europe. Congratulations to him for that. We can't wait to talk to him about that. A good friend of the show, has been on before. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier will be joining us as well. Lots to talk about. Man, big college basketball in the Big Ten turned on its ear yesterday with the announcement by John Beilein that he is leaving the Michigan Wolverines basketballers of the NBA. Shocker that nobody saw coming. And now we look to see what the ramifications that'll have on the Big Ten and potentially on Indiana basketball, as there are two recruits at Michigan that would fit right into the Indiana program, to their needs with their two open scholarships and needs for shooting and scoring. Michigan's players will pretty much fill that bill, but that pair. And one of the things, of course, that comes to mind is, are they looking for a spot to land together? Is that something that would make it more enticing to them? And that is a definite potential at Indiana. I'm sure Archie Miller would love nothing more than to have that manna from heaven fall into his lap. And it would certainly fill a huge void that the Indiana basketball program has right now for shooting and scoring. We talked about their recent recruiting woes, not being able to land any of the national targets they've been seeking. They may benefit from this. Somebody's certainly going to benefit from it. We don't know if they're going to go to someplace together. Don't know if they care to. They're probably looking for the best situation for themselves, but that includes being a package deal. Indiana is one of those places that could facilitate that, as they have two open scholarships right now and a humongous need for the very players that these guys are. Now, that wouldn't answer the questions about why Indiana is having such recruiting problems, but it may fill the void that would eliminate the reason for those problems. So you know that Indiana is extremely interested in that pair. We'll talk with Mike Schumann about that when he joins us today from the Daily Hoosier later in the hour. Jordan Hulls will join us in the next segment. Looking forward to that. Indiana baseball, big game tonight at the Bart. Back home for the first time in 8 games now, coming off a big series win over Michigan this past weekend. They still have a shot at the Big Ten championship. They're going to need some help from Nebraska as Michigan travels to Lincoln this weekend for a 3-game set. Indiana needs Nebraska to take that series. And then, of course, Indiana has to take care of business. If they can do that, man, they can wind up Big Ten champions. Wouldn't that be something for Coach Jeff Mercer in his first season? They've done a heck of a job thus far. An NCAA tournament berth is without question for this program already. They lead the country in home runs. I think they're at 84 right now. I think they only had 3 home runs over the weekend, and that all 3 of those came in the Saturday game. They've got 2 hitters that are in the top 20 in home runs in the country.
So they're hitting the ball well, and they've matched up with Louisville pretty well over the years. Ironically, they haven't matched up so well with Kentucky, who hasn't been as good. Louisville has been a pretty dominant program, and they are right now. They're a top 5 team. They have been rolling for a while, but Indiana has matched up well with them. Probably a spot where they're going to end up in the playoffs for the NCAA tournament is in Louisville. So this could be a prelude for a rematch looming come tournament time. The weather's going to be nice, so that it ought to be a heck of a night for a ball game. Looking forward to it. May 14th. Happy birthday to Kylie. Sweet 16. So happy for her. Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Let us know what your thoughts are. A lot of people weighing in on the potential of these 2 recruits coming to Indiana. Who's going to replace John Beilein at Michigan? A lot of thoughts right there. Of course, a lot of names pop up, but none more prominent than Dane Fife, the former Hoosier baller who's been at Michigan State under Tom Izzo for the last 8 seasons. He's a Clarkston, Michigan native. His brother, Dugan Fife, played for Michigan basketball, was a captain on that team. It's a natural fit, and probably the most natural fit, but not necessarily the best fit. Michigan fans have already made it known they want a big-time hire. Of course, everyone always wants that. Of course, the first name you start hearing, Brad Stevens, again. But I promise you, I don't see that being the case. If Brad Stevens is going to leave the NBA and the Boston Celtics for a college gig, I think it's going to be Indiana. He long ago made it known that was one of his dream jobs. He's from Zionsville, Indiana. So I would see him on the sidelines at Assembly Hall, I think, before Chrysler Arena. But you never know. But there's nothing to indicate that he would even think about leaving Boston. So that could just be wishful thinking again on their part. But talking about those 2 players that Michigan has, Joker hit us up, said both are 4 stars. One rated as number 50 and the other one's at 105. So obviously 2 very good players, but more importantly, they're shooters.
Did Archie recruit them at all during the initial recruiting process?
You know what? Be honest with you, I'm not up to date on those guys. So I'm not sure. There's sometimes some crossover, but I haven't seen a lot of crossover between the players that John Beilein landed and what Indiana was seeking out. Maybe that's a problem right there. I
was going to say.
Because John Beilein has done quite well with the guys he's recruited, and he's not been landing 5 stars to do it. Although Brzezickas last year was a hell of a recruit and had a breakout season, and he gone. Another text on the text line. What do teams do if they have a player declare for the draft and decide to come back? Do they have to hold that? Yes. Do they have to hold that scholarship? Yeah, that's an issue. Because the signing deadline is May 15th, but I thought players have a later date to come back or not. They do. That is a problem. I mean, that can be a problem for schools. Absolutely. Players have until May 29th to withdraw from the draft, but commitment letters are supposedly signed by May 15th. Not sure why Watford's dad was saying they will sign some papers on May 20th. Yeah, again, I'm a little confused on that myself, but we'll get that straightened out when Mike comes on. But yes, to answer your question, that is an issue. If you fill your roster, and then let's say these 2 guys from Michigan both came to Indiana, fill those 2 scholarships, and let's say, which this is not going to happen, and I'm even suggesting that it's a possibility. And let's Romeo decided to come back. Yeah, there would be an issue that Archie had to rectify. He would have to jerk a scholarship from somebody, and that's not allowed at Indiana. Now, that's not going to happen, but that is a scenario that could have played out. And it doesn't matter that Indiana could have been anywhere, but I'm just answering that question. Yeah, that's an issue. If you fill those scholarships, and especially a school like Indiana, if you're offered a scholarship and you accept, it can't just be taken away from you at a whim. They have the Student Bill of Rights that was put in place under Fred Glass, and it should be. I mean, those kids have got to have some protection. So that's not going to happen with Indiana. They've got 2 spots that they need to fill, without a doubt. And a couple of shooters would fill that bill quite well. We'll see how it turns out. But then the big question is, who's going to replace John Beilein? They've got to go to work on that right now. As Hoosier fans, would you like to see Dane Fife in that role? I mean, he's going to be a head coach somewhere anyway. I figured he may just be holding on, waiting for Tom Izzo to hang it up and to take over there. But maybe Michigan is where Dane would like to be. But we'll see. He may not have that option. It's going to be interesting to see who gets that job. It's going to be interesting to see if he can hold on to these 2 players, or if they're long gone before a coach is even in place. Maybe they want things in their life to be solid and know where they're going, and they don't want to wait around. But for that reason, I think Michigan may try to move as quickly as possible.
Do you think Michigan goes the Michigan man route like they did with football?
Yeah. I don't think they care. But good point. Bo's not there anymore, though. Bo Schembechler. Jake's referring back to the time when actually it was basketball when Steve Fisher, it leaked that he was taking a job elsewhere while heading into the NCAA tournament. And Bo Schembechler said, no, I don't think so. Michigan's going to be coached by a Michigan man. And so they gave him the boot. But it's going to be interesting to see. Hey, stay tuned. We got a lot coming up. We got Jordan Hulls coming up next here on Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. We're back with more right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hi, this is AJ Moyer, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jim Coyle with you here, Indiana Sports Beat, and we are grateful to be joined by a good friend of the show, Jordan Hulls. Jordan, how you doing, man?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Doing great. Jordan is still over in Germany, recently fresh off of being minted the MVP over there. Congratulations, by the way. That's a heck of an honor.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's luckily I had a lot of Indiana fans voting me in, and but yeah, it was a great year, in the international play and then BBL. Very thankful for that honor, and good to see the hard work paying off.
Yeah, you were the only player to pull up a couple of awards, but you got 40% of the vote for that, man. It was a landslide. So it's not just a couple of IU fans. There's just a lot of people voting for you. That's a landslide victory.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a great year for us. I had a great team who got me the ball when I was in good position to do different things, and the system that I play in. And like I said, it was a great year shooting the ball, and hopefully I can keep that going forward. But yeah, we made it all the way to the finals. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to finish the finals. I played the first game, but missed the rest of it with a season-ending injury. But yeah, to get that award is pretty special, and like I said, I'm very, very thankful for that, and couldn't have done it without the fans, of course, and the team and all that kind of stuff.
Well, there's a reason your teammates get you the ball. You're only shooting 49% behind the arc, so they're I guess they're not too. They're pretty smart in that regard, because man, I know a certain college team that could use some shooting like that.
I think a lot of college teams could maybe use something like that, but ours in particular, maybe so as well. But yeah, it's like a great shooting year, and if I can just keep doing that, that's how I make my money. And being from Indiana, and that kind of helps me, I guess, growing up being able to shoot. But yeah, it was a great year.
Well, and what's it like being, you're obviously from Bloomington, Indiana, but it's not like you've been hidden away in the sticks, but to live in a foreign country, to not only to make your living in a foreign country, to live in a foreign country and to make your way over there, your family and all that, that's got to be quite an adjustment.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Germany is a great place for us to live. We really love it here. This is my 6th season, which is kind of hard to believe. And yeah, when you have to totally uproot your family and go to a new country and new surroundings, new teammates, new everything, it's kind of scary in the beginning, of course. But I've played in Poland, I've played in Kosovo, Belgium, and now Germany. I've been here for 3 years, and it's you take a lot of different things from different countries. But this has been a great place for us to live. We feel safe here, healthcare here. We had our second son here early in March. So it's very comforting, when my family feels comfortable and we're surrounded by good people, that's all I can ever ask for. So on the court stuff is always good to have when that's going well too. But as long as my family's happy, and because it's hard, my wife has to make a huge sacrifice leaving her family, which is now my family, back home, and we're a long way away from our friends and family for an extended amount of time. So it's a huge sacrifice for them. So when they're happy, I'm happy as well.
Now, there's a lot of former Hoosiers playing in various teams in Europe. Are there any that are in your league or that you get to play against?
Nobody from IU per se, but a lot of Indiana kids over here for sure, man. It's unbelievable the amount of Indiana kids who have a lot of talent and wanted to pursue their basketball careers. After college, Braden Hobbs is a kid from Southern Indiana that I grew up playing AAU ball with, and he plays in this league. Jake Odom was in this league last year. Chris Kramer from Purdue. We have tons and tons of other Indiana talent here, which just makes you realize how small of a world basketball is.
Braden Hobbs from New Albany High School actually went to Bellarmine, I think, won a Division II national championship at Bellarmine. For
sure, yeah. He was, he stayed close to home. He's a high caliber player, and he's playing on the best team in Germany right now. Doing what he does, making other people better, shooting the ball well. What Indiana kids are supposed to do. He's had an amazing career, and he's only about 2 hours from me, so we met up. Once this season, but he's a pretty busy guy with our schedules and stuff like that. But he's doing really well.
Yeah, the thing about Europe is you just jump on a train, you can be in about 10 different countries within an hour. Everything just shoots, so it's so weird.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like if we want to go to Ohio, it's like us going to Paris. Whenever my family comes and visits or friends, whoever it may be. It's pretty cool to be able to say, yeah, we can just hop in the car, go 5 hours, and we're in Paris, France, or we'll go to. One year we went to Normandy, France, when I played in Belgium, like all sorts of things, and pretty unique opportunity. While we're still young, fairly young, we have 2 kids now, but we still get to travel around and see the world. And my 2-year-old son, he's learning German. He's in German school, so it'll be cool once we're back stateside that he'll be able to tell his friends, I grew up in Germany, and then his little brother was born in Germany, and we got to travel the world, for this extended amount of time that we're over here.
Yeah, you're already giving them stories that they don't even know that they're going to have to tell 10, 15 years from now, 20 years from now. These are stories that they're going to get to tell, that they're developing. They don't even know that yet.
Exactly. It's really cool as a parent just to be able to give them that opportunity. And like I said, it doesn't come without sacrifice, being away from their grandparents and stuff like that, but cousins, aunts, uncles, all that kind of stuff. But it's in the grand scheme of things, it's a short amount of time compared to the rest of our lives. So if we can make these memories now and continue to build relationships elsewhere and then settle back home, that would be a pretty cool thing for us.
I promise you, it goes fast, brother. My daughter's 16th birthday is today, so we're celebrating her birthday today. I'm looking forward to that. But
Oh wow!
I
Tell her
can't.
happy birthday for sure.
We'll do that. But yeah, it goes so fast. But also, when you were playing at Bloomington South High School, did you ever dream that you would be making a good living and playing around the world and get to go to these awesome countries and do things? Was that even a dream at that time?
Man, I've always wanted to play professional basketball. When I was that young, though, I never even realized you could come over to Europe and play basketball and make good money and play at a high level. NBA was always my dream, will always be my dream. And growing up, that's all I ever cared about was, getting my schoolwork done and then getting back in the gym and trying to be the best player that I could. So it's kind of a surreal feeling to know that, I'm living out my dream. I don't have to do a 9-to-5 job or anything like that at the moment. So it's something that I cherish. And every day I go into practice, I got to remind myself to be thankful for the opportunity because you never know how long you'll be able to play. And I've been blessed enough to play 6 seasons, and I signed back here for a 1+1. So probably 2 more years here. And so if I can just keep playing as long as the wheels are going and I'm shooting the ball well and my wife lets me, I'll play until that day.
And also, you don't not just playing, but you give back. And we've got something coming up, the JH1 Skills Academy, which is your skills academy. You've got your camps that are coming up at Bloomington South High School, not that far away in June 19th and 21st. You've got it set up for grades 2 through 5. It is only $100, and grades 6 to 11 is $125. But that's got to be a great feeling for you too, to be able to, because these kids, they look up to you. I mean, you're a former Bloomington South athlete, you're a former IU athlete, and now a professional basketball player. I mean, you're someone that they idolize, and to be able to touch their lives. I'm sure you had people that when you were their age that did that for you, but it's got to be awesome to be in that position.
No question. It's always been something I've been passionate about, giving back to the community and impacting lives, and not just on the court, but off the court as well. I feel like I could be a good example. I'm not the biggest, the tallest, the strongest, or the best at anything really, except I could control how hard I worked and the effort I put into it and those kind of things. So those are the kind of things I try to tell the kids, whether that's if they do want to play basketball or baseball or whatever sport, or be a doctor, lawyer, teacher, whatever it is, if you can take the game of basketball and take from it the teamwork aspect, the hard work aspect, all those different characteristics into your real life, then, I think I've been able to make an impact that way. And I've been fortunate enough to do this every year that I've been a pro, that I've been able to do the camp. So I do it every summer in my hometown. And like you said, just trying to reach as many kids as possible, different age groups, different skill levels, doesn't matter. Boys, girls, if you're able to come, then we'd be more than happy to have you there. We try and make it more of a skills camp as opposed to just rolling the ball out there and playing. So I emphasize a lot of skill work, 6 different stations where we specifically try and teach the fundamentals of basketball, because I think that's what kids are missing these days. They just go out there and chuck up three-pointers and hope it goes in, and don't have correct form or correct passing form, or don't even know how to box out properly. Those kind of things are what I try and teach. And I have a great coaching staff, and I'm able to have my family involved as well, with my dad, my sisters, my mom, my wife, everybody's involved. So it's a fun thing for me, and I look forward to it every summer. I wish I had more time to do more camps all over the state, but I just haven't gotten to that point yet. But maybe once I'm done playing, or, my kids are a little bit more grown, then I'll be able to do something like that.
And talk about the 3-point shot, one of your specialties, obviously. News looks like it's going to, in the NCAA level, it's going to move back to the international line. You think that's good for the game, helpful? You think that's helpful for the game, or is that getting the college game more in step with the international level, or how do you see it impacting college?
Yeah, I didn't realize that rule was going to go into place. I mean, there's always going to be pros and cons to each thing. If you look at the 3-point percentage, I don't know this off the top of my head, but I'd be curious to know what is the 3-point percentage in this era as opposed to what it was when it was closer. And is that really improving the game of basketball? Everybody always is already relying on the 3-point shot so heavily anyway. I mean, for shooters, I don't think if you move it back, if it's really gonna change how you shoot your shot or anything like that, form wise or any, if you move it 2 feet back, for me, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. But that's very interesting that they're doing that to get guys ready for the next level, perhaps, and to shoot more threes or space the floor more. I don't want to talk into it if I haven't done my research on it though, but
right. And it's not a set rule. It's not set to go into place yet. It's a proposal, I believe, but it probably is more than likely that is one that's going to be taking effect. For the last couple of years, they've used the NIT as kind of a guinea pig. This year they moved it back in the NIT. They moved the 3-point line back. They also used the wider international lane this year. That's not a proposal expected to be made, but now that's one I thought would be more helpful, is to open up the lane a little bit. But
yeah, that would definitely make it more exciting, because I mean,
it's definitely the college game is changing a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, if you want to try and make the game more universal, where it's the same all over the place, then for sure, the NBA is just in a different level of its own. But when you get over here in Europe, it's not like you have defensive 3 seconds or anything like that. But there is the different rules where you can tap the ball off the rim once it hits, and you can go in the lane early, intentional foul, like all these little different things. What I would like the college game is to just go back to quarters. I think that would be. I still don't understand why we do halves. I'm sure there's a lot more behind it than what I understand, but I think everybody else uses quarters. I don't understand why college basketball in the men's side doesn't use quarters. And reset the fouls after 5 or whatever, and take away with the 1-on-1. But 1-on-1 does propose a different exciting element to the game, to it in the games and stuff like that. But I mean, like I said, there's pros and cons to everything.
I think that's something you'll probably see, Jordan, because that's another rule I think that they toyed with in the NIT this year. So we'll probably maybe see more of that next year. But have you had a chance to follow the college game at all? No, there was huge news yesterday. John Beilein, after 12 years, leaving Michigan to go to the Cavs. That's big news for the Big Ten, for college basketball overall. But that's kind of a shock.
Yeah, definitely. I saw that tweet, and when the information leaked out, and one side of me is really shocked because he's had so much success at Michigan, and I know he's a great coach, and he's done a great job there. But on the other hand, he's proven a lot at the college level, so maybe he wants to see what he can do at the pro level. And with all the stuff going on around college basketball, maybe he wanted to just get a different look, different feel. He didn't agree with what was going on, or he just saw. Obviously, I'm just spitballing here. I have no idea, but I'm happy for him because I've always respected him and what he's done and what he's been able to accomplish. And for the Big Ten, I think we're losing a great coach as a conference, someone who provided a pro style offense. So I think he'll be able to translate that over pretty well.
Well, the funny thing is, the big talk is they have two recruits that are both big-time shooter scorers that are possibly going to be coming available, and there's a certain school that has 2 open scholarships and a dire need of shooting and scoring, located pretty close to Bloomington. So I think they're going to be pretty interested in those 2 players.
Well, heck yeah. I mean, anytime you can get a high recruit who can shoot the ball, and if that's something that we struggled with, that'd be great if we could land something like that. And that's I guess that's good for us if that's a potential thing that can happen.
Jordan, I can't thank you enough for joining us, man. I know you're coming back soon stateside. You got your camps coming up in June. We'll look forward to keep everybody updated on that. We'll get that stuff on our social media pages as well. But thank you so very much. Safe travels to you and your family coming back, and look forward to talking to you when you get back over here.
Sounds great. I really appreciate you having me on and getting information about my camp. And again, be sure to wish your daughter a happy birthday.
Thank you very much, Jordan. I'll do that, brother. Thank you very much. Jordan Hulls joins us here on the Indiana Sports Beat. We'll be back with plenty more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this. Thank you, Jordan.
Hey, tomorrow I'll probably try to call you again if I can get you to cut a quick
Hello, everybody. Jim
promo.
Coyle
Just
from
hey, this
Indiana
is Jordan
Sports
Hulls.
Beat.
You're
When I'm
listening
not
to the
covering the
Sports
Hoosiers,
Beat.
you
We
can
can't
find
do
me
it
at
while
Bubba's
the
33
commercials
in
are running.
Clarksville,
So I'll
located
do it
on the
like off
northeast
hour
corner
or
of
something, but I'll
I-65 at Veterans
figure out the
Parkway.
time to where
Bubba's 33
I'll send
has
you a text and
hand-tossed
make sure it's all
pizzas,
good.
bold burgers, and ice cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make it tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. It's Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Greg Graham. Keep up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jim Coyle with you as always. Got Jake at the wheel, and we're joined now by a good friend of the show, Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier. Michael, how are you, sir?
Doing great. How are you doing, Jim?
Good, good. Just got off with Jordan Hulls, recently named MVP over in Europe and Germany, and man, oh man, Indiana can certainly use his shooting. He just had a season where he wrapped up 49% shooting from the three-point line.
That's amazing. Yeah, his whole story is really amazing. And one thing I saw about a month ago when I was doing a little bit of homework on our current Indiana team is the numbers that his 2013 team put up when he was a senior. I believe 4 starters on that team were above 40% from behind the 3-point line with him leading the way, which is just truly incredible in the context of what we've seen the last couple of years, and really highlights the kind of difference that good 3-point shooters can make.
Yeah, one thing I failed to bring up to him, and I meant to, was it kind of reminds me of Mitchell Page, who also, Jordan had a career where everybody said, "Oh, you're too short, you're too slow, you this, that, the other thing." Oh, that's okay. He just goes out and continues to just knock it down. And Mitchell Page, the same thing. He was also MVP last year. A huge season for him over there, but he talked about that, being able to overcome that stuff. But man, you talk about that shooting stroke. Indiana could certainly use that. And then, of course, there's no news bigger right now than the news of John Beilein leaving Michigan to go to the NBA Cavs. That in itself is just a huge story. But also the 2 recruits that are on that team that are potential to look elsewhere could certainly fill a void that Indiana has right now.
Yeah, they're certainly, if they do end up going elsewhere, they're certainly going to be a help to somebody on a very late kind of surprise approach there, because at this point, I think all IU fans are thinking the roster for next year is pretty well set, and to have a couple top 100 guys free up would be something to behold. I think I saw a couple quotes where people got to those recruits yesterday and asked them the question, and they said that they're going to hold out and see who the coach is, and that makes a lot of sense to me. So it'll be interesting how quickly Michigan is able to kind of capture the momentum that they've built over the last few years, and see if they can pull somebody out of a program here late, or if they just decide to stay within. They've got some guys within that have helped along the way here. So I think it's going to be interesting for sure. That the 2 recruits that Michigan has coming in for this year, they're not guards, they're more kind of wings. So, I guess the main question as far as fit at Indiana would be, surrounding Jerome Hunter. I'd say they're along the lines of him. And does Indiana at this point feel confident enough that they're going to, have that spot pretty well filled? I mean, you can always certainly use more players of that caliber of talent, but that might impact how hard they push as it relates to these guys. I did also read yesterday that, this news came out yesterday, probably coaches and other insiders knew beforehand, but one of the players, Jalen Wilson, who's the highest rated of the 2, had already been contacted, or his family or coaches had been contacted by 20 different schools. So it's going to be a highly competitive situation if he does go back out on the market.
Yeah, something I mentioned that if and only if those 2 guys were looking to go someplace together. Of course, Indiana is a school that has 2 open scholarships, but there's nothing that's been said to make that a belief or anything. It's just something I thought of. But and they may not leave at all. Like you said, they may wait to see who their coach is. Now, that's going to be huge on who they get as a coach, what their options are. Obviously, a name that popped up early was Dane Fife, former Indiana basketball player. He's been at Michigan State for the last 8 years, but his brother was a captain on the Michigan basketball team. He's from Michigan. As far as a natural fit, that's probably one of the best natural fits, but that doesn't mean it is a fit for them. And it's going to be interesting to see who ends up getting that job. That's a pretty good job.
Yeah, Fife would be definitely interesting to me. I've heard him give a few interviews over the last year, and in each and every one of them, he's been asked the question of, when are you going to take a head coaching job? Because it's just a logical question. He's already been a head coach. He's been under a great coach like Izzo, as you said, for a while now. And each time he said, you know what, I've got relatively young kids. I've got a pretty good situation here. He was alluding to the fact that it probably wouldn't be until his kids were grown up so that he didn't have to take on, all the burdens of being a head coach and could kind of continue to, be a dad, so to speak. So if he does it, this tells you that, that this was one of those jobs that he just couldn't say no to. And it would be understandable growing up in Michigan like he did.
And getting back to Indiana, though, Indiana has got to they've got 2 empty scholarships, and there's been just a lot of speculation on what's going to happen with those. Are they going to, quote unquote, bank them, which to me is just a waste, because with the grad transfer now available. But under Archie's system, I don't know how easy it is for a grad transfer to come in one. If you only have 1 season of eligibility, I'm not sure how easy it is to come into that system and to have a lot of success with it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I would also say that most of the names that I would have said are, guys they just absolutely have to go after because they fit the needs on the roster are pretty much gone. I don't know that there's that many grad transfers right now that kind of fit the bill of what Indiana's looking for, both from a talent standpoint and a Big Ten ready standpoint, and then just layer on what you're saying about understanding all the intricacies of the pack line and being ready for that as well. I do think it's hard, and what I've understood is that Indiana as a school has special graduate program admission requirements that they don't make exceptions for athletes, and so there's a higher bar coming into IU for grad transfers that kind of takes a lot of people off the board just before they even get started. So it's not an easy thing for IU to fill up for a number of reasons. And I've not, in the last few weeks, I've not heard any names that they might still be talking to a player or two, but it's not materialized to the point where it's kind of leaking out to become mainstream. So I won't be surprised at all if where we're at now is where we're at in November, save for something unusual like the Michigan situation.
And that begs the question, with Indiana having 2 open scholarships and largely on the backs of basically failing to land any of these national recruits that Archie's been going after, is there an issue with recruiting to Indiana? I mean, obviously, kids on a national scene do not view Indiana right now as to me, I've stated it clearly, they do not see Indiana as a path to the NBA. I mentioned the fact that in 9 years as the head coach, Archie Miller has not had a player drafted into the NBA. And Romeo Langford, of course, will change that technically, but he came to Indiana by default, and he was a projected top 5 pick before he got to Indiana. And right now he's dropped down to the outside of the top 20.
Yeah, I'm not ready to say that there's an issue there. I mean, clearly it's the trend has changed here, but I think it all comes down to really one player. I mean, if Keon Brooks had chosen Indiana, I think the whole narrative around recruiting right now would be completely different. And so I don't want to put too much emphasis on one player. I mean, it clearly, is going to put a lot more pressure on the 2020 class for Archie Miller because, he's obviously, already through 2 years with no NCAA tournament appearances. And, he's probably not going to have, he's got more than 3 years, but he doesn't clearly have more than 4 years, especially if the current trend line continues the way it is. My money would be on 4 to 5 years if things don't show a lot of improvement. And so, the kind of kids that they're recruiting for 2020 right now are not, for the most part, guys that are going to be day one game changers. So they're guys like Anthony Leal and Trey Galloway that you're going to try to build a program around it. And, hopefully by the time that they're upperclassmen are really successful at a Big Ten level. And so, to kind of marry up those timelines, and it's really interesting as to whether, what the approach that's being taken right now and the type of recruits that Indiana is going to likely be landing, how does that give Miller enough time to do what he's trying to do at Indiana? It's an interesting time, and the guys that are going to determine that are the guys that we keep talking about right now as, the likely recruits for 2020.
Yeah, I mean, that's the perfect point, because if now the recruiting efforts have switched to 2020, and then if you're looking at another 2 years after that before they make an impact, we're looking pretty far out. And is the fan base going to stand for that? I mean, it's there's kind of a hole right now, and I think that they definitely have to have a successful season next year, or there's going to be the natives will be growing restless.
Yeah, they will. And I go back yesterday. I pointed this out on Twitter. One of the things I asked John Beilein some questions after Indiana lost to Michigan in Bloomington back in January. I asked him because he had a similar experience in his first 3 years at Michigan. He actually, in the aggregate, had a losing record at Michigan his first 3 years. We tend to forget that because of the recent success, but Michigan showed him enough patience to allow him to build a culture, and he really emphasized the culture. But what he also said was that, you know what, sometimes other teams that are on the top just have to fall back and give you an opportunity to move up the ladder. And I think at the time that Michigan started getting better under Beilein was the same time that IU kind of imploded under Sampson. And wouldn't it be interesting based on those comments if Michigan now went through that, and that kind of created an opening for IU to move up the ranks a little bit.
Yeah, because another thing people may not realize is that Michigan had a large gap of not playing in the NCAA tournament. I mean, that was like, I don't know, it may have been 9 years that they didn't play in the NCAA tournament before they got on this run.
Yeah, the natives were very restless with Beilein. Funny enough, they were really restless with him twice because, Michigan he got things going, around that time, around 2009, 10, and ultimately, won the Big Ten in 12 and reached the national championship game in 13. But then they kind of fell off again for a couple of years. And, fans being fans, there's very little rational thinking and patience. And they kind of got on him again. And then he's had another good run here the last few years. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't think in the league as competitive as the Big Ten is right now, where, you have programs like Nebraska that, are bringing in a Fred Hoiberg and, really top to bottom, there's no easy games. I think it's really hard to sustain success. So, I think it's going to be incumbent for Miller to, have success in the 2020 recruiting class like we're talking about, and as well as probably have some teams like hopefully Michigan slip a little bit, or it's just going to, otherwise it's just going to kind of keep grinding and trying to find a way.
Talking with our friend Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier, and talking about that, the recruiting efforts now have focused on the 2020 class. A lot of Indiana kids in that, and some that are not also. But a lot of those guys were in action over the past weekend up in Indianapolis with the EYBL. There was a lot of talent up there, man.
Yeah, I got a chance to spend some time there. I spent my entire Friday evening there and other parts of the weekend, and got a good look at a lot of the guys on the Nike circuit that IU is recruiting right now. Some guys that stood out to me. One, Indiana ended up offering DJ Stewart out of Chicago, who just absolutely exploded over the weekend, including, I didn't get to see his 46-point game on Sunday, but I saw a little bit of him on Saturday and Friday. He's a kid that's really explosive off the dribble, can really create his own opportunities, and he's a little hit or miss, no pun intended, with this 3-point shot, but a guy that, in a congested and physical Big Ten that can kind of create his own opportunities is really somebody that obviously attracted Indiana enough to make the offer over the weekend. The guy that I think, Indiana's probably farther along with than most people realize is Matt Cross. He's out of Boston. Indiana offered him a couple of weeks ago, and I guess he's coming in for an official visit here in a couple of weeks, which is a pretty quick turnaround, considering they just offered him. But he's a guy that you just look at. He's kind of a big 6'7", physical looking guy with a very surprising game. You think of him more as a power forward because he's 6'7", over 200, and looking at him, he has that traditional power forward look, but he's very fast, very good handles. He's going to play more of a stretch 4/wing type role in college, and he's a really good 3-point shooter. Somebody that's really kind of come along here in the last few months and garnered a lot of attention. So if Indiana can get on top of him and get him locked up here relatively early to get the class started, I think that would be a really good step forward.
Yeah, and you mentioned players like that because what it brings to mind to me is Indiana. I still don't know what Indiana's identity is. I know it's supposed to be about defense with the pack line and all that, but I don't know what their identity is.
Yeah, to me, the thing I keep going back to under Miller's entire tenure is I don't think that they've had the type of players that have been able to personify that identity. They haven't had any, dogs, if you will, tough guys. I keep going back to his Dayton years. If you read about his Dayton years, that's the type of teams that he had. And as well as I do, following this team and being in the locker room, that these are a bunch of nice guys on this roster. So I think he's got to find guys that have a little bit of an edge to them, a little bit of a nastiness to really bring across that culture and show what Miller's trying to do, because I don't think he's had the right type of kids to really exhibit that.
I agree with you, Mike. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier. Grateful to have you on, man. Appreciate you as always.
All right, Jim. Have a great one, man.
Thank you very much. That's going to pretty much wrap it up for us today, and a great show again. Jordan Hulls was on with us. Mike Schumann there from the Daily Hoosier. If you didn't miss any of it, you can catch us on the rebroadcast, any place you find a podcast. But that's going to wrap it up today. We'll be back tomorrow with plenty more coverage on tonight's IU Louisville baseball game. For Jake, I'm Jim Coyle, and I will see you on the radio.